What is going on, good people of YouTube? It is me, Chavez, back with another Prize Picks video for you. Today is Sunday, March 19th, 2023. We have 8 games in the NBA today, and much like yesterday's video, this video is going to be covering the early games. So we actually have 3 games on the schedule tipping off before 6 p.m. So we'll talk a little bit about those games. I have 3 player props, one from each game that I like that I want to share with you today. As always, I hope this video finds you all doing well and in good spirits and in traditional video format. We'll kick things off with a recap over yesterday's plays. We'll dive into some injury news, and then we'll dig into those 3 player props. So if that sounds good to you, stick around, drop a like, sub, click that notification icon because it means a ton. It means a ton in helping this channel get a bit bigger every single day. And without further delay, let's jump on into those picks from yesterday. So looking over our picks from yesterday, pretty cut and dry here. I gave you all 2 picks that I liked from the New York Knicks Denver game and then the Magic and Clippers game, that early slate, and both of those props hit. So we took the over on Franz Wagner's 23.5 PRA and then took the over on Nikola Jokic 23.5 points. So 2-0 on the day. We really needed this type of day because the last few days just haven't been great to us. So looking to build on that momentum with these 3 plays that I got for you today. Before we jump into those, let's quickly recap, or let's quickly update ourselves on some injury news in the NBA. Injury report for today, we have probable Anthony Davis, Brook Lopez, Grayson Allen, Landry Shamet, questionable Trae Young, Zach Collins, Isaiah Livers, Jalen Johnson, Doug McDermott, Nasir Little. Doubtful is Keita Bates-Diop. And then outs, DeAndre Ayton, Jeremy Sohan, Jeremy Grant, Devontae Graham, and Jay Crowder. All right, we got the injury news out of the way. We got the recap out of the way. Let's dig into these player props that I have for you covering the early games. So we have 3 games in the early slate. We got the Nuggets and Brooklyn Nets. Then we have the Phoenix Suns and OKC Thunder, and then the San Antonio Spurs and Atlanta Hawks. Let's start over in the Phoenix and OKC game, and I want to talk about our first player prop, and it's going to be Jalen Williams, Jalen with an L, not with a Y. And let's talk a little bit about his PRA set at 25.5. Over on props.cash, and real quick before I start this, I apologize for any background noise. You might hear my dog is running around the apartment, tap dancing on the floor, I like to say, when her little nails hit the hardwood. Sounds like tap dancing shoes to me. So if you pick that up, she's having a good time. She's having fun today. So, all right, jumping into Jalen Williams, PRA set to 25.5. A few reasons I like this. Number one, let's start with the positive history versus Phoenix. So last game on the 24th of February, Jalen Williams crushed this line, ended the game with 32 PRA versus Phoenix. Let me untoggle that and set it to all. We can see that Phoenix game, he had 32 PRA. Overall, over the last 10 games, 70% hit rate. That's nice. That's always good. What I like more importantly, though, is his playing time. So over the last 10 games, he is playing roughly 33 minutes a game. So he's being used. He's on the floor, and he's heavily involved in his offense. So those are all great things. One thing I found out digging into a few games, Jalen Williams is seeing a lot of healthy minutes and starting the second and fourth quarters without SGA. And in that time frame, it's usually like 3 to 5 minutes before SGA gets back on the floor. But he's taking shots. Like, he's taking 2 to 3 shots, at the beginning of the second, beginning of the fourth. So when SGA is not out there, Jalen Williams is your primary scorer. And that's great. And that's what we need for him to do today. So I like the over here on his 25.5 PRA. He's just getting it done across the board. He's not just a heavy scorer and falling into a few rebounds and assists. He's contributing across the board and is a big reason why the OKC Thunder have had, I guess you can say, as successful of a season. I mean, I wouldn't exactly call it the best season, but it could probably be a lot worse if Jalen Williams wasn't playing at such a high level. So I like the over here for Jalen Williams, 25.5 PRA as our first player prop on the day. For the second player prop, I want to talk about Spencer Dinwiddie's PRA set to 30.5. And let's hop on over to props.cash and dig into this a little bit more and find out why I like the over here, the more on his PRA. Over on props.cash, we can pull up his past 10 games and see that he has a 60% hit rate in those 10 games. Positive history versus Denver. I understand that this looks bad, but keep in mind, these 3 games were played while he was in Dallas. This game was played while he was in Brooklyn. Let's look at the minutes, the minute difference between those 3 games in Dallas where he was not the primary scorer. I mean, he was the second scorer on the team behind Luka, and just depending on how the game was going, maybe he was the third option on that team. So in Brooklyn, he is definitely the second option on that team behind Mikal Bridges. However, he is seeing, 10 more minutes in Brooklyn than he was seeing in Dallas. His shot volume, it is a little bit more staggered when he was in Dallas. You can see that the last game he played versus Denver as a net, he put up 15 shots. So let's go back to just the 10-game log. Let's look at the shot volume for Spencer Dinwiddie over the last 10 and 5 games. He's roughly giving you 16 over his last 10, 17 over his last 5, shooting a lot. That's a lot of shots, to be honest with you. Scoring a lot of points, dishing, grabbing rebounds, just doing a little bit of everything here. So all this looks great for Spencer Dinwiddie. Currently, Denver ranks 20th in the NBA versus point guards. And I just want to reflect back on that last game versus Denver. 37 PRA. I mean, he torched them in that game. 25.8% usage rate over his last 10 games, and these games are, him as a Brooklyn net. And when you compare that to the 22.4 usage rate he was seeing in Dallas, 3.4% increase is heavy. That's the increase you see sometimes when a starter is out, and then a reserve role player gets more minutes. That's a huge increase, and that could mean more points. That can mean more opportunities to grab boards, to dish out assists, just to contribute more for the team. So huge difference in usage rate. So all that considered, positive history versus this Denver team as a Brooklyn net. Go ahead and give me the over on Spencer Dinwiddie's 30.5 PRA. And for our last player prop, and unfortunately this player prop is not on the board because we are awaiting some news out of Atlanta, but when these props drop, here's what to look for. DeJounte Murray over 19.5 points. Currently, Trae Young is questionable for this game. This is a game, in my opinion, that the Atlanta Hawks can win without Trae Young. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Hawks sit him for this game and just let DeJounte Murray run the team, be the primary ball handler, scorer, just let him do his thing. So let's look at some facts here. I'm gonna head on over to props.cash and let's take a look at some of his games and dig into this a little bit more. Over on props.cash, let's take a look at the last 5 and 10 games for DeJounte Murray. Not looking good, to be honest with you. 13.6 points over his last 5, 18.5 over his last 10. Prior to this little slump that DeJounte Murray is in right now, he was averaging 23 points in the 5 games prior to that slump. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 23.4 points he was averaging in those 5 games. So this is another spot for, we talk about positive regression. What goes up must come down, what comes down must go up. This is a great opportunity for Murray to get back on track. Games without Trae Young, DeJounte Murray on the season is averaging 26.7 points per game and 22.3 field goal attempts per game without Trae Young on the floor. Compare that to the 20.5 points per game and the 17.9 field goal attempts he's averaging with Trae Young in the lineup. Big swing in production, big swing in, shot attempts there. But even if Trae Young does play this game, I still like the over here for the DeJounte Murray 19.5. We can stick with the positive regression. We can look and say this guy is a much better player than 13.6 points per game. He's a much better player than that. He's a much better player than 33% from the field, 29% from the field. So all this has to regress to these types of games. So it's enough for me to go with the over. Once this prop is on the board, once we get confirmation on whether Young is in or out, 19.5 is a great line for DeJounte Murray. I'm going to go ahead and take the over on that one. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's video covering the 3 early games in the NBA. We talked about Jalen Williams, 25.5 PRA. We like the more. And then Spencer Dinwiddie's 30.5 PRA. We like the more on that one. Also like the more on 19.5 points for DeJounte Murray. Once these props are on the board, hopefully we can get it at 19.5. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel, checking this video out. As always, I truly appreciate the time you've taken to check this video out. Talking some player props over on Prizepicks, and drop me a comment below letting me know who you have your eyes on in today's board. Also, let me know what you think about these player props that we talked about in today's video. Do you like them, love them, hate them, or do you want to leave them alone? Either way, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you again for all the continued support, the likes, the subs, the comments. It means a ton in helping this channel get a bit bigger every single day. And if you like what you hear here, and if I've helped you out in any single way, if you just like the style of these videos, the intro music, the outro music, drop a like, drop a comment, drop a sub. And until tomorrow's early look and research video, or actually this afternoon's video covering the late games, the games tipping off after 5 p.m. Until that video, Chavez is